oldest state university in the nation has nothing, if not a lot of scenic history, including places like the Bell Tower and the Old Well Walk, led tonight for the first time ever by fifth-year senior starting quarterback Matt Baker. Barry Alvarez and the Wisconsin Badgers come in as the nation's top-scoring team for anyone who's played 2 games so far. A big reason, their transfer tailback, Brian Calhoun. But can they handle the heels under the lights tonight? Just the second meeting ever between the Wisconsin Badgers out of the Big Ten and the North Carolina Tar Heels out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Kenan Stadium, Chapel Hill, steamy night, sold out 60,000 plus. Tonight's telecast available in high definition, presented by Philips and on ESPN2 HD. Welcome to Chapel Hill. Dave Barnett, Mike Gottfried. One of the first things John Bunting wanted to establish when he took over this program as an alum was to make Kenan Stadium a very inhospitable place for visitors. Last year, job done big time. 3-0, including the biggest win in school history at the gun over number 4 Miami. Mike, the challenge tonight in a lot of ways is similar.
Dave, the game plan for North Carolina is very simple. Stop the run. Now, that sounds easy, but it's tougher than that to do because Wisconsin's offensive line's huge. 6'8", 303 pounds. Joe Thomas, the left tackle. Craig Herbig, 6'6", 320 the other side. And when you get through the offensive line, then you got Coke Machine at fullback, Matt Bernstein. So then you're trying to work to Brian Calhoun, so it's easier said than done. But if they do stop the run of Wisconsin or slow it down, they have a chance to win this football game.
There is going to be a delayed kickoff tonight. We have just been told by the officials that they will make a decision on what time to kick at 7:15. They will decide at 7:15. There is a weather front expected in, so at 7:15, the decision will be made at that point when to kick off, but we will have the entire game from the time it kicks off. And in the meantime, let's check in on the sideline with the third member of our crew, Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. At about 6:20 or so, the referee for tonight's game went to Barry Alvarez, the Wisconsin head coach, and told him, Coach, a front is coming in, some bad weather. Thunderstorms, lightning are possible. I may have to delay the start of the game. As you just mentioned, 7:15 is the next announcement coming. Now, about 5 seconds ago, the PA announcer just told the entire stadium here, about 60,000 people, they've got to clear their seats and go to the concourse for safety because lightning is expected, Dave, very soon. In an orderly fashion, they're going to try to get up there as quickly as possible.
Lightning expected. Hasn't happened yet, but they are being prepared here at Kenan Stadium. So as we await kickoff, and we'll have the entire game once it starts. Right now, let's return you to the studio and join Matt Weiner. Dave Barnett, Mike Gottfried, Dave Ryan. After a delay because a weather system was expected to come through, as yet has not, we are finally ready to kick off. And down to Dave Ryan for the latest weather update.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. I did just speak with a couple of game officials here at Kenan Stadium. They told me it was all up to game management prior to the kickoff. With inclement weather in the area, NCAA rules specify game management, which means North Carolina school officials decided to delay the start of this ball game because of inclement weather in the area. Lots of lightning, thunderstorms within about 20 miles of Chapel Hill. They'd hoped to get the kick by 7:30 or earlier, so it looks like we'll start a little bit earlier. Had the game started, it would have been up to the officials, guys.
Beat it by about 6 minutes. Wisconsin has won the toss. They will receive. Connor Barth, the hero of last year's last-second win over number 4 Miami, has it teed up ready for the Tar Heels. First visit ever to an ACC school by the Wisconsin Badgers. Only the second meeting ever between these two programs. 2 years ago in Madison, Barry Alvarez took a 38-27 victory. And they have just now adjusted the scoreboard clock to 15 minutes. They were counting it down from 5 minutes. They have it set at 15. Now we at last are ready to go, and Barry Alvarez is ready to continue his 16th and final season as the head coach of the Badgers before taking over full-time as athletic director next year, handling both jobs the last couple of years in Madison. So Connor Barth gets us underway. And nothing for Brandon Williams to return here. So Wisconsin will start from their 20 with junior from Richfield, Minnesota, John Stocco. Their starting quarterback, a very solid game manager, 11-3 now as a starter. At 69%, that pops right out in 4 touchdowns against 3 interceptions. Stocco able to use the entire progression of the co-offensive coordinators for Wisconsin, Paul Christ and Brian White. Can scramble, pretty good athlete, faces a pretty athletic North Carolina secondary and pass rush tonight. And they begin with Owen Daniels, the tight end, in motion. And Stocco deciding to keep on a roll for that 5 yards out of bounds at the 25. Wisconsin averaging better than 60 points per game. Tops in the country for anybody that's played 2 games. Bud Light starters. Calhoun has been spectacular. Bernstein, the Hebrew Hammer, at fullback with Williams, Orr, and Daniels as the receivers. And up front, the usual humongous group, including Thomas Lawrence, Raiola, Palermo, and Urbic.
Don't be surprised by that first play, Dave. They're trying to move John Stocco around against a very fast defense.
And on play 2, Stocco wants timeout. Wisconsin, by far, taking its biggest step up in class, having so far taken on Bowling Green, winning a high-scoring contest, and absolutely obliterating Temple in a game in which John Bunting, the head coach of North Carolina, Mike said he turned the tape off at halftime. He'd seen all he wanted or needed to see at that point. So the interesting contrast tonight is the Wisconsin ground game, the ability to mash people, and that's what they have been about ever since Barry Alvarez took over in 1990, and North Carolina presenting, they hope, a more balanced look.
A quick defense. That's why John Stocco in the first play, a misdirection play to try to send a message to try to slow that defense down. But they are going to make their bread and butter running the football.
And how long has that been the case for Wisconsin? One difference tonight, Brian Calhoun does not fit the Ron Dane mold. When you think of Barry Alvarez's classic tailbacks, you think of the guys like Dane, 230, 240, run over anybody. Calhoun, more of a scat back. More likely to attack the edge at 5'10", 194. Transfer from Colorado. They were thinking of making him a wide receiver. He has obviously made, in his mind, the right choice. And he gets wide, coming left this time. And across the 30 with a first down to the 32. In his debut, 258 yards. That's what this Carolina defense has in mind. Their Bud Light starters up front, Rackley, Page, Guy, and Davis. Their linebackers include Edwards, Justice, and Richardson. And in their secondary, Watkins, Carey, Taylor, and Holt. North Carolina defense, coached by a defensive coach like John Bunting, has put up amazingly poor numbers the last several years, some of the worst in the country. The biggest area they have to improve this year is defensively, as Calhoun gets about 5 off tackle. The Badger offense against Bowling Green and Temple, 60.5 points per game. That leads the nation for any team that's played at least 2 games. 4th in the country, averaging 325 rushing yards per game and total yardage 44 to 98. Mike, keep in mind, in the Temple game, the last 3 quarters, you're really talking about 3rd stringers and below who put those numbers up. So a 2nd and 7. And another give for Calhoun. And a nice cutback to get within a yard of the first, to the 43.
Missed tackles on Brian Calhoun on the first 2 runs. As you said, he gained 258 yards rushing against Bowling Green. The Temple game, actually, John Bunting and all the coaches really looked at it for a little bit and then threw it out.
43 carries against Bowling Green for Calhoun. Alvarez says that is not going to be his average workload. But on 3rd and 1, they give it to him again, and he is stuffed for a loss. Coming up strong from strong safety, Malon Carey.
Well, you know, when the strong safeties and the free safeties early in the football game are making sticks at the line of scrimmage, you have to play action pass. Good tackle by Carey.
Senior from Marietta, Georgia. They've tried him at running back, at linebacker. Finally has a home at safety and came to Bush. And a first punt returned from the 14-yard line by Brandon Tate, who's got some room. A flag is down. Tate is down at the 38. 45 on the kick by the Bush, 25 on the return, but the marker's back at the 18-yard line. And we have a Big Ten officiating crew here tonight in Chapel Hill, led by referee Dennis Lipsky.
They had called that on DJ Walker, number 28.
There are 2 fouls on the back. Illegal block in the back on the receiving number 20. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. After the play, dead ball, unsportsmanlike on North Carolina bench. That penalty will also be enforced half the distance. First down.
Wow, first down, but a double mark-off against Carolina.
There's a call. John Bunning on the field, arguing that call.
That wasn't much to get a bench flag. You'd expect maybe a bench warning at the most.
It's like a basketball coach getting on the floor. You're going to call it.
So Matt Baker ready to take over. Boy, did he wait his turn. A 3-year backup to Darian Durant. Coaches feel he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. He says he always knew his time would come. He was never tempted to transfer and play elsewhere. He takes over at his own 4-yard line with 3 wides and 1 in the backfield. That is Barrington Edwards, who tries off left tackle, the sophomore transfer from LSU. Bud Light starters, Carolina. Edwards joined to the backfield by Ricky Cook, the fullback, and the wideouts, Jesse Holley, also a member of the national champion basketball team, Pollock and the tight end Hamlet, and up front, Chacos, Gray, Bell, Ralph, and Seagraves. Skip Seagraves, 6th-year senior, who was a late question mark as to whether he would be able to start tonight, but he's in there at right tackle. Edwards got 1, 2nd and 9 from the 5. And from his end zone, right on target with another marker down. John Hamlet, the tight end. The flag thrown back at the 5. A gain of 20 if it stands.
Usually where that's thrown, Dave, it may be an ineligible receiver because may have been covered.
Ineligible receiver downfield, number 86 of the offense. That player was covered up by the outside receiver. It'll be half the distance to the goal. Repeat, 2nd down.
A late call, but the right call. John Hamlet covered up by the wide receiver. He's on the line of scrimmage right here. So the wide receiver, so he is not eligible to tight end. You line up different formations, but that's unusual, Dave, because you walk through your scripted plays Thursday, Friday, so to make that kind of mistake by a wide receiver, not good.
Turns a 20-yard gain into 2nd and 12. And again, running out of his own backfield, Barrington Edwards. Couple of nice power moves. He's out to the 10. Let's look at the Wisconsin defense. They've been spectacular as well. Up front, Monty, Chapman, Hayden, and Cooper. They lead the Big Ten, this group. 8 sacks already in the first 2 games. Linebacker core, Sanders, Zalewski, and Watkins. And the secondary includes Langford, Rogers, Stellmacher, and Bell.
questions on this Wisconsin defense because Bowling Green threw the ball so successfully.
They threw circles around the Wisconsin defense. Well over 400 yards. Here's a strike, and the catch made by Jesse Holley for 14 yards to the 23 and a first down for Carolina.
You talked about Matt Baker, the coaches. John Bunning saying he's going to be one of the best in the conference. Here's a guy that's waited his time, perseverance, and they have confidence in him to throw out of the end zone, the 10-yard line inside. Pretty good throw there.
This Wisconsin defense, 9th in the country last year. And again, so many of these numbers this year put up by second, third, fourth teamers and below. So they're very early as Edwards is unable to get around the corner. Let's get an update in the studio from Matt Weiner.
Dave, Clemson trailing by 7 in 4th and 2 in overtime. Charlie Whitehurst looking, thought he was going to run. He didn't. Goes to Curtis Bayham, fingertip catch. Clemson has now added a field goal with their next possession. It's Miami's ball, second down by 3. We'll keep you updated.
Well, that's what you were watching while we were waiting for our kickoff. And we'll continue, Matt will, to update you on that thriller. As 3 Badgers jumped, and we'll see if they were drawn off. If they were drawn off, might have been by the left tackle, Brian Chacos.
Prior to the snap, offside, number 5, defense. Made contact. That's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second out.
They got the defensive end, Jamal Cooper. This has not been business as usual this week for Barry Alvarez. His father passed away. He missed Wednesday's practice to return back for the funeral. As far as the rest of the club, he tried to make it business as usual as much as possible for the players and the rest of the coaching staff. As Edwards again carries, here's the 30.
Davey talked about his father and what a special relationship he had with him. Talked about him being a guy that he could count on. He took his kids and grandkids back this summer. He knew he was sick.
From Washington, Pennsylvania, Tony Alvarez, he described as the original good guy. Mr. Blue Collar, coached him in baseball, was a greenskeeper. Baker with a deep out. And the receiver, Darrell Mitchell, falls down. And, of course, the crowd here at Kenan Stadium wants a flag. They won't get it. Incidental contact. Joe Stellmacher in the coverage with Mitchell. Baker and Mitchell last week hook it up for an 87-yard touchdown, tied for the second longest pass play in school history. So David Woolridge will have to kick it away on 4th and 4. The dangerous Brandon Williams back at his 25. A 66-yard touchdown return against Temple. Wisconsin's first punt return touchdown in 5 years. He backs up to the 14 for this one. But the first man misses, and so do the second and third. And he gets 16 back on a 56-yard punt by David Woolridge. So Calhoun and the Badger offense back to work when we return to Chapel Hill, scoreless early. 9:12 to go first quarter as the Badgers will take it at the 31-yard line for their second possession at sold-out Kenan Stadium. We had a delayed kickoff because of some weather that as of yet has never arrived, hopefully won't arrive. But there were some thunderstorm warnings in the area, so the officials here, as they should, erring on the side of caution, if they erred at all. 31-yard line, 1st and 10, Wisconsin. It was their 4th meeting ever against an Atlantic Coast Conference opponent. And they move Owen Daniels around quite a bit from the slot to motion, and flags and whistles.
Prior to the snap, offside, number 75, defense. Main contact, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Shelton Bynum, who backs up Kendrea Sky at defensive tackle.
Busiest guy on the field has been the referee.
So far.
All the penalties.
Second to the meteorologist. So 1st and 5. And the guy to watch continues to be Daniels. He is a former wide receiver and former quarterback. Very athletic as a tight end. He caught 3 touchdown passes last game as they give to Calhoun. And Calhoun splattered by Milan Carey. ESPN Full Primetime brought to you by State Farm. It's no accident that State Farm insures more cars than anyone else. Olive Garden, when you're here, you're family. And Forterra, soft on the inside, tough on the outside.
Olive Garden, the best tiramisu you can buy.
Tough to beat.
The Olive Garden.
They're getting started on the salad. 1st and 10 from the 44. Every running play so far has been Calhoun. I don't know. I'm going to give it to them 43 times a game. They're pretty close to that pace so far.
They'll get Booker Stanley in the action also, the backup tailback. Matt Bernstein, the fullback. He's the guy that sets everything up for Wisconsin. He's the loaded fullback.
Brian Calhoun transferred from Colorado. He was very close to his position coach there, Eric Bieniemy, who moved to UCLA. He started against Wisconsin, against the Badgers in the Alamo Bowl as a true freshman. And Brandon Williams on this catch here. Good for 12 down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, John Bunny, the head coach of North Carolina, does not pull any punches. He's as blunt as they come. He told us yesterday in our meetings with him that when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles, and keep in mind he had a 13-year career as a linebacker, whenever the Eagles played the Dallas Cowboys, there was always the goal to make Tony Dorsett, the star running back of Dallas, leave the game early. Well, that's the goal tonight against Brian Calhoun of Wisconsin, to try to hit him often, hit him hard, and wear him down and make him leave this game early tonight, Dave.
I think exact words were, we wanted to make him quit. And Calhoun, with self-tackleization, makes that play quit early.
Did you say trip? You want to make him trip? Brian Calhoun trips over the line there in the grass as he eyed up the offensive line.
I would be quick to add, though, that Tony Dorsett made a few defenses quit, too, in his time.
Many. Probably 4 defenses.
He didn't enjoy too many trips to the vet to take on bunting in that particular Eagle group. So 2nd and 12 for Stocco. And again, Williams threw his hands that time. He had some room between himself and Jacoby Watkins. And it's 3rd and long.
Brandon Williams is open. 148 career receptions. Needs 28 passes to break Lee Evans' mark. Open. Should have brought that one in.
Normally their most consistent, explosive returning receiver, a senior from St. Louis. Here's 3rd and 12. And from the Tar Heel 45 this snap. Straight back Stocco. Steps away from pressure. On the money this time. And another first down grab of 13 by Brandon. An update from Matt Weiner.
Games have concluded. First at Clemson, Tyrone Moss, 25 yards on the touchdown run, 2-point conversion. The mandatory one was no good, but it's over because Charlie Whitehurst has just thrown an interception. So Miami wins it 36-30 in 3 overtimes. Also in overtime in South Bend, a Jason Teague 19-yard touchdown run has ended that game. Spartans 44-41.
To be close, I don't think quite that high scoring. Calhoun through the middle for about 4. Clemson had a chance to win in regulation, had a wide open receiver. Miami defensive back slipped down. Whitehurst overthrew him in the end zone.
Overthrew him. It's going to come back to haunt them. Clemson, very tough. They thought if they beat 2-2 at the first part of the season, they would have a great year, but they have a chance to beat Miami.
Calhoun already 8 carries, 27 yards, 3 on that one, 2nd and 7 out of the eye. And tries the left side this time. Milan carries, but very active early. Strong safety up for at least 3 hits. Joined this time by the weak side backer, Tommy Richardson.
Keep thinking about when you have a safety and you're the coach in the press box and you keep seeing Milan Carey make tackles. You try to throw the post behind him. You have to slow him down to get him out of the run configuration.
He replaced a good one. Gerald Sensabaugh went to Jacksonville. Playing very Sensabaugh-like so far. 3rd and 7, Stocco. Blitz. Ball in the air and batted down. Intended for Calhoun. Here's a late flag.
Had what they wanted, Dave. They had lined up against the linebacker, Larry Edwards, on the wheel route, which means
Pass interference, number 32, defense. That's a 15-yard previous spot, automatic first down.
you get a tailback lined up against the linebacker. There's the interference by Larry Edwards. Good call. See him out of the backfield against the linebacker running the wheel route. Edwards can't stay with him.
And zero panic by Stocco. Feeling heat, let it go. Got the result. First down from the 14. Back to the ground game. This is Booker Stanley. Ball comes free. Recovered at the 7 by North Carolina. The defensive end comes up with the loose ball for the Tar Heels.
So when you're on the road, you want to score first. You want to silence this crowd. Booker Stanley fumbles his football. Just pulled out.
Doug Justice, the middle backer, causes the fumble. Brian Rackley recovers. Huge sigh of relief here at Chapel Hill. Turnover, Mike Godfrey will tell you about in a second. First of all, the Tar Heels take over after the recovery at their own 8. And with a 2 tight end set off a play fake. Baker heaving one deep and overthrown, intended for Mike Mason. And the fact that Booker Stanley fumbled under the full moon. He never did that in high school, did he?
250 rushing attempts in high school and never fumbled. Now that ball was pulled out by Justice. Got Justice.
Doug Justice, the senior from Port Orange, Florida, the first possible 4-time academic All-ACC selection. If he makes it again this year, which he probably should. And of the ground game, Edwards to the 16. More on Justice from Dave Ryan.
What a big play for Doug Justice there, Dave, right in front of me on the sideline. It'd be hard for any college football player to match the community service record of Doug. He's put in countless hours with Habitat for Humanity, building houses for disadvantaged people, and homeless shelters serving food, wrapping presents at Christmas time for disadvantaged kids, and spending time at children's hospitals as he did yesterday. He says brightening up the day, seeing a smile makes it all worth it.
Majoring in psychology and communications, wants to get a master's in sports administration. You run this program one day. Baker pressured and dropped back at the 8. And coming hard was Jamal Cooper from defensive end.
Looked like the old days of that defense last year. Jamal Cooper just beats the block of the tackle. No block. Didn't account for Jamal Cooper on the left side.
First sack tonight by the Badgers. Big Ten leading 9th already on the year. And from his own end zone, Blue Ridge. Very low. And coming up to midfield is Williams. He gets 5 out of the return, but the Badgers get fabulous field position out of a 42-yard punt. 4:09 to go in a scoreless first.
Brought to you by Hummer. Check out the new H3. Hummer, like nothing else. And Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean. You're the king of beers.
Probably the first really high-profile North Carolina football player. Choo-choo Justice, Charlie Justice, 46-49, first-team All-America twice, led him to 32 wins, 3 bowls, 2 conference championships, and a college football Hall of Fame. Badgers from the Tar Heel 45 as they take over 1st and 10, and Stockwell with a deep drop and fires to Williams over the middle at the 30, complete for 15 and another first.
When you're stopping the run like North Carolina, you got your linebackers really uptight. The play-action passing game, then to get Brandon Williams behind the linebackers is open. So many weapons to stop. You have to stop the running game if you're going to beat the Badgers.
So far, they have run for 38 and passed for 41. A little bit more dangerous through the air until this carry by Calhoun gets him inside the 25.
You talked about Brian Calhoun transferring, that they tried to move him to wide receiver. He said Bobby McPherify was back at tailback in Colorado, and they asked him to move to wide receiver, and that was the end of it, probably. In Wisconsin, he played against them in the Alamo Bowl the year before, and then he transferred and sat out.
3 times as many rushes as passes, but almost dead even in the yardage. On 2nd down, the catch made by Calhoun. He is going to be stopped at the 22, and it'll be 3rd and 3. So they get Calhoun involved in the passing game. He has been pretty much the entire running game. At Colorado, 4 carries, but 73 yards in the score, so you saw potential already. The next year, 32 carries. Great average per carry. Last year sat out after the transfer, and his first 2 games have been nothing short of spectacular so far as a Badger. Here's 3rd and 2. They motion Daniels again. They toss sweep. And Calhoun looks for the cutback angle and stretches and has the first inside the 18.
Brian Calhoun, Barry Alvarez said last year when he was on the scout team, which means he went against the first-team defense, he said he was better than anybody they played on Saturday.
Which is not a bad thing.
No, you get a good look out of a great back, and it prepares you for the guy you're going to play on Saturday.
So 1st and 10, Wisconsin. They move from the Carolina 18. Scoreless, final 2 minutes, first quarter. Almost run down in the backfield this time before finally Doug Justice chases him out at the 15, gain of 3.
Dave, going back to scout teams, they are so important in college football because they really give you the look of the North Carolina defense all week. They're guys that usually don't play, and they don't get into football games, but they give the look. And more guys have left that scout team and became starters as the years go on. So they're very valuable to a college program.
You got 2. It's 2nd down and 8. Jonathan Orr goes wide right. Williams is left. And it's Calhoun looking for the right corner. Gets it turned. He's very close to 1st and goal. We'll see where they mark him out right around the 8. He needed to get just inside the 8.
Dave, the Coke machine, Matt Bernstein, who's 266, number 44. 45 coming right into your screen. Makes that block a Milan carry.
6'2", 266. Some wondered if he could come from Scarsdale, New York, and play Big Ten ball. Nobody wonders that anymore. Mindful of Madison Hedgecock now with the St. Louis Rams. They did stop Calhoun a couple of feet shy. Booker Stanley checks into the eye on third and a little less than one. And it is Stanley who fumbled on his first carry, close to the first down here at the end. In fact, right on that yellow line. Or at least he was until they placed the mark 2 feet shy.
Brian White, Paul Christ, two offensive coordinators, give the ball to Booker Stanley. They know he's reliable.
Co-offensive coordinators. And it is short.
On the road with this big offensive line, you figure they're going to go for it. Bring Bernstein in the ball game, let him lead. Follow Matt Bernstein right here.
Why not
Usually
give
the
it to him?
football.
How about forget
true,
about
too.
leading?
I saw him against Penn State. He ran up and down the field.
123 yards in that Penn State game when they gave him the chance to be a lead back. So we'll see what they have in mind here on 4th and inches. From the 7.5 of the Heels. Two tight ends in the eye. The give, the easy touchdown, Brian Calhoun. Virtually untouched for 8, 6-0 Badgers.
A good call by Paul Christ and Brian White to get the ball, have Bernstein lead. There's Matt Bernstein with the block. Nice job also by Jason Palermo, pulling guard.
Taylor Melhoff, 17 of 18 on the year. And a busy point after touchdown kicker at 7-0 Wisconsin. I guess your idea was better. Let Bernstein do the blocking.
Put him, he really is like a Coke machine. He's a refrigerator. Look at him. And he plays with emotion like this guy. Palermo pulls, you get him also on the line. 6'3", 307 pounds. You got a fullback, 266. Just follow.
Two key Tar Heels blocked out were backup linebackers there, Mike. Jeff Longhanging, who backs up Edwards at the strong side. Victor Worsley, 54, backs Justice up in the middle. 7-0. Next week, two high-octane offenses meet on ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Oakland Raiders, new-look offense featuring new acquisitions Randy Moss and Lamont Jordan. Welcome Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, and longtime AFC West rivals Kansas City. Chiefs and Colts also available high-definition ESPN HD. Coverage begins NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite Sunday, 7:30, 5 for 130 in a score, as Moss got used to wearing the black and silver a week ago. So the kick from Mike Mason, who bounces it outside, may turn it into a big one. Mason to the 40. 33 on the return. DeAndre Levy makes the special team stop for Wisconsin.
Mason is the fastest wide receiver on this Carolina football team. Showed good speed to get to the corner. Good field position.
So 1st and 10 from their 39 is where Carolina takes over with 48 seconds to go in the first quarter. Baker so far has thrown it only 3 times, hit only 1, that for 14 yards. And a toss sweep, we see Cooter Arnold for the first time. Choo-Choo Justice had one of the great old nicknames in the James Cooter Arnold, true freshman from Moxville, North Carolina, one of the better new nicknames.
Well, you got to figure his mom or somebody watched the Dukes of Hazzard, Boss Hogg and Roscoe P. Coltrane and Cooter.
He was just the 2nd true freshman to start an opening game at tailback since Choo-Choo Justice did back in '46. Spectacular high school career. One of 6 true freshmen who got their debuts against Georgia Tech.
He's a quick back, not as big as Barrington Edwards, his starter. 5'10", 170, freshman.
Maybe the last play of the first, 2nd and 7. Carolina out of the offset eye. And the catch is made by Mitchell. They're in Badger territory at the 45, good for 12. And that is the last play of the first quarter. So North Carolina stops one Wisconsin possession with a fumble recovery at the 8, but the Badgers take advantage of field position from the heel 45, take it in on an 8-yard score by Calhoun and lead at the end of 1, 7-0. But not for long as Cooter Arnold is knocked backwards 5 yards. And what a first half Jamal Cooper is having for himself from defensive end.
Garrett Reynolds is a offensive tackle. He's a freshman, 18 years old, from Knoxville, Tennessee. He missed the block, and Jamal Cooper tackled another freshman. Cooter is going to come back and say, hey, block that guy.
Cooper got Cooter for a loss of 4. Reynolds, the true freshman, 6'7", 275, but he blew past him as if he wasn't there. 2nd and 14. And Baker throwing that one right into the arms of the mid linebacker, Mark Zalewski, who can't hang on.
Talk about North Carolina when you have 2 freshmen in the starting group right there. Garrett Reynolds from Knoxville, Tennessee at right tackle, and then you got Cooter Arnold, the tailback. That makes pass protection tough also for the quarterback, Matt Baker.
Lots of experience around those two. Those are the 2 pretty key spots as we have seen. So 3rd and 14. Badger 49. Wisconsin chopping at the bit for a blitz. Here comes Cooper again. Baker one-on-one coverage, unloads it deep, and it is at the 6-yard line, intercepted by Brett Bell. The senior from Wheaton, Illinois, comes away with the Badger interception.
Just like a punter, you take that gamble downfield. Jamal Cooper got pressure on Matt Baker off the corner. Puts pressure, Matt Baker may have scraped his arm. Threw it up there, hung it up there. Brett Bell with a good interception. Just like a punter.
Brooks Foster, the intended receiver. Looks like he can come back from out of bounds anyway. Matthew Shaughnessy was coming in pressuring Baker. And the total yardage, about a 3-1 advantage. Badgers, they've had great field position. Now for a change, they have terrible field position, but after the takeaway from the 6 back to Calhoun. And like I said, they don't want him to carry 43 times a game. Well, tonight, he's on a pace to carry 56 times.
Boy, they like to get him the football. The average field position for Wisconsin has been fairly decent until this time. North Carolina struggled. Wisconsin likes to weigh you down by the 4th quarter.
In that way, Barry Alvarez got this program going about 1993. Toss sweep, Calhoun. Looks for a block. There is none. And he's buried at the 11.
Dave, Barry Alvarez, when he came to Wisconsin, built his football team for the winter, for the cold months, the running game. He knew he had to run the football. He knew he could get the linemen from Wisconsin, the area. Jim Huber, the offensive line coach, is about as good as it gets.
2 out of 4 so far converting third downs. They need 5 here. And Stocko well protected. Until now, he's sacked at the 7.
Good coverage by the secondary and the linebackers of North Carolina. John Stocko really with nothing to go to.
Tommy Davis gets to him. That's right around where the drive started.
Dave, that's why that interception wasn't that bad. It's almost like a punt when you hang one out. You got a chance for a big play, but if it is picked off, they get the ball in the 6.
DeBush from his own end zone. Not much on this kick. Brandon Tate inside the 35 of the Badgers. And by far the best field position for North Carolina. 17-yard return for Tate. Timeout 11:55 and a half. 7-0 Wisconsin. Just outside the 35. That's an issue for John Bunning because he knows if it comes down to running game versus running game, he is going to lose. So how does he get the air step?
He has to throw the football. You're right about Pollock. He's got to be a guy they go to. Jesse Holley on the other side. Speed receiver. Hamlet to tight end. Phillips, a move guy. Justin Phillips.
Running's gotten better every year until they were held to 61 yards in a loss at Georgia Tech. 3rd and 11. Deep pattern into traffic. And in the middle of the end zone, intended for Holley, incomplete. And for a split second, it looked like Jesse Holley brought it down for 6.
4 receptions last week. Jesse Holley on the post route against Brett Bell. Should have had it. Safety underplayed it. Holley had a chance.
So they send Connor Barth out. He did not attempt a field goal against Georgia Tech, but 14 for 18 last year. And he tries a 52-yarder here.
He's going to try a 57-yarder because it's a 5-yard penalty.
Prior to the snap, delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty remains 4th down.
Well, is there a more debilitating penalty than delay of game on a 52-yard field goal? Mercy.
On last week, they had penalties at Georgia Tech.
Brandon Williams back deep for Wisconsin.
So much for Connor Barth. David Woolridge takes over now. We'll try and pin Brandon Williams somewhere inside the 10. As a sophomore, over half his punts were killed inside the 20. This one may be as well, but takes a Badger hop on into the end zone. So with 10:49 in the second quarter, 7-0 Wisconsin. Just the second meeting ever with the Tar Heels. 7-0. Dave Barnett, Mike Gottfried, Dave Ryan at Kenan Stadium. Packed with 60,000 plus in Chapel Hill tonight. It's 7-0 because of a delay of game penalty that denied Connor Barth the best kick of his career. A 52-yarder. So the Badgers take over after the touchback on the punt, and rolling right is Stocko. His throw intended for Williams. And that kick, Mike, was good.
Was good. And that may come back to haunt this football team. Here you're going to see Connor Barth. See the ball just rolling the post.
Previous best was 50. That would have been 52.
That's good practice, but you'd like to have those three on the board.
Last year's 42-yarder at the gun to beat number 4 Miami. Biggest win in school history. Trailing here 7-0 on 2nd and 10. And back to the ground, and Brian Calhoun dragged out at the 26-yard line by Shelton Bynum. Calhoun right, Calhoun left. Little difference from the usual Wisconsin attack because it's not that much Calhoun between the tackles. That's not where he makes his bread and butter.
More zone play. Jason Palermo pulled around number 52. You get behind those 307-pound guards. It's pretty good. A hiding place.
They go 6'8", 6'5", 6'3", 6'3", 6'6" across the front. And all at or above 300. So hard to find Calhoun. He gets free on the left side with a marker down. Is brought down by Tommy Richardson. If this play stands, it's a first down.
There is a flag on the play.
But it's coming back on holding Wisconsin.
Holding, number 53, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
The senior center from Honolulu, Donovan Raiola.
Very good center. Right here, 53. Tackle. Pulled him down. Put Chase Page down.
Chase Page, the senior defensive tackle, was sat out all last year. With an injury known as jersey finger. Tore some tendons, got his pinky caught in a jersey. Stocco, screen, blown up. Red, Calhoun unable to get away from Tommy Richardson, who chased him down on the previous play.
Tommy Richardson, Paul Chris, the offensive coordinator, said we have to really control Richardson. Number 8, he watches as the back comes out. Brian Calhoun, he's right with him on man coverage, makes the tackle.
Converted safety from his first 2 years, leading tackler as a junior. So DeBush. And Tate lets this one bounce, takes it at the 37, retreats, and then sees some room on the left side. And spins forward to the 47-yard line. Turns a 48-yard punt into a 7-yard return. 8:41 in the second quarter. It remains 7-0 Badgers.
It's time now for your chance to win one of 100.
And the Tar Heels have a 1st and 10 at their 47-yard line. 8:41 in the second quarter. Justin Phillips in motion. And Baker. Good run for some pretty decent yardage. Instead, the ball is tipped with the flag. Incomplete, intended for Jesse Holly. I think if he pulls that down like it runs, he gets 15-20.
Yeah, that play blew up from the start as far as a passing play.
Down. Holding, number 6, defense. That's a 10-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Brett Bell, who had the interception for Wisconsin.
As bad as things are going for North Carolina, they really are in a pretty good position to play this football game, to upset Wisconsin. They've had bad field position. Now they have good field position here. Let's see where Brett Bell's holding.
Had a pretty good grab on Darrell Mitchell. So up to the 43 of Wisconsin for the 1st and 10. And Baker throws on the roll. Open is tight end Hamler. He's close for a first. John Hamlet, by far their best receiving tight end. 3 grabs against Georgia Tech.
They're better off just coming out and throwing the football. Eventually go back to the draw and run every now and then, but they can throw the football. Bowling Green threw the football against Wisconsin.
They threw it and threw it and threw it. They were closer to 500 yards than they were 400. And an amazingly close game for a long time that Omar Jacobs sits on the surface. So 1st and 10, 33-yard line, back to the ground game. Breaking a tackle, Barrington Edwards. He's to the 30 to pick up the 3. We're in the middle of the second quarter. Kenan Stadium sold out, 60,000 plus. One of the most scenic sights anywhere for college football. Dave Barnett with Mike Gottfried and Dave Ryan. We're 7-0, an 8-yard touchdown run by Brian Calhoun, the difference for Wisconsin. The difference in total yardage would make you think it's already a Badger runaway. They have outgained Carolina 111-47. But Mike, as you said, Carolina not in bad shape at all. They're at the 30 with a 2nd down and only down by 1 touchdown. Baker this time will pull it down and keep. And is pulled down right at the 1st down marker inside the 25 by Bell.
He heard you, Dave. The last time he ran this time. It's great perseverance because waited till the 5th year to be the quarterback. I've had 2 quarterbacks back-to-back. DJ Shockley, who waited for his turn at Georgia. Sam Keller to Arizona State, waited for his time.
This is Jamal Cooper, the defensive end, who has been terrific. Injured down there on the far sideline. Sophomore from St. Louis being looked at. He has been basically unblockable. And apparently got tangled up in that area where Baker came down 1 yard shy of the first. So a break with 7:26 in the half. 3rd and 1 coming.
ESPN 2's College Football Prime Time. Brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. And Applebee's Neighborhood Grill and Bar. Eating good in the neighborhood. Applebee's.
Ramses, no relation to the Egyptian Pharaoh. 3rd and 1 coming from the 24-yard line. And out of the eye, they try to power it out. And Edwards is knocked backward. Power on power, and the Badgers win easily.
Edwards on the carry tackle by number 95, Joe Monty.
One defensive end comes up, Joe Monty, joined by the strong safety Joe Stellmacher. Now what? 4th and 2. They send Barthon trying to get on the board.
Trouble running the football.
Well, we just saw him hit from 52, wiped out by a delay penalty. So here's a 43-yarder. And absolutely no question on this one. Without the previous penalty, this makes it a 1-point game. But it's 6:33 to go in the second quarter. It's 7-3, and at least the Tar Heels get on the board. Connor Barth, the sophomore from Wilmington, from 43 yards out. Tar Heels at least on the board now, 7-3. 6:33 to go first half. Barth with the kickoff. It's a high short one. And from the 13, Zach Hampton returns this one to the 26. Well, a moment ago we saw Jamal Cooper down on the sideline. Dave Ryan, what have you found out about him?
Yeah, and for Badger fans, Dave, this has really been a topsy-turvy report for you. He really went down after making that tackle on Matt Baker on the sideline about 15 feet from here, as if he had really hurt his left knee very seriously. Then a few moments later, he hopped up, told trainers, I'm okay, tried to run on it. The knee buckily went down. Now he's being treated again. They've got it completely wrapped in ice. He's done for the night. It could be a very serious knee injury for Jamal Cooper.
Can't mess around with that thing if it buckles, and Wisconsin takes out the man who has been by far their most effective defensive lineman so far. Sacco Great stretching grab, Williams, and he brought it down inbounds for 17 at the 43. Carolina, Mike, simply has no receiver like Brandon Williams has for Wisconsin.
Brandon Williams, number one, is going to work up the field and run the out route after the other receiver clears out. You see the concentration, looking the ball into his hands.
And he comes off and gets checked. Limping after that grab. Valuable as a return man, kick and punt return. Top wide out as well. First down, Badgers. And Stocko, middle screen, Calhoun. Across midfield, Chase there. Ryan Rackley on the tackle. This was moments ago, and this is preparing for a halftime ceremony honoring the latest North Carolina men's NCAA basketball national championship team. They came down from the stands, took kind of the victory lap. Roy Williams and crew will get honored with the rings at halftime. Meanwhile, 2nd and 2. And Calhoun looks for room on a toss sweep. It's a little bit of a cutback and enough for a first.
I'm impressed with Brian Calhoun. Barry Alvarez was high on him the other day when we talked to him. Paul Christ and Brian White both talk about him, and just really a strong runner and makes some good moves.
Calhoun carried it 14 times in the first quarter alone and has outgained the entire North Carolina ground attack, and not by a little. Another 1st and 10. And another cutback angle. Works hard for a couple just inside the 45.
The whole philosophy again of Wisconsin is to wear you down. Just keep beating on your front, your defensive front, your linebackers, and will wear you down in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
It would appear to be happening in the 2nd quarter, Mike.
Well, all the coaches and players you talk to in Wisconsin, they all talk about we want to be physical. We want to be the best team, the physical team.
2nd and 9. And Stocko over the middle, a little bit shy of the first down on the catch by Jonathan Orr. Barry Alvarez has made his reputation on great running backs like Heisman Trophy winner, all-time collegiate rushing leader Ron Dane, Michael Bennett, 3rd leading rusher in 2000. He was followed up by Anthony Davis, Doak Walker semifinalist in 2001, his freshman year. And Brian Calhoun, in his first game, 258 yards against Bowling Green a couple of weeks ago. So he continues the tradition with, so far, no drop-off whatsoever. 3rd and 1. Guess who gets it? First down, inside the 35. Drip, drip, drip. It's like Chinese water torture.
And right behind Matt Bernstein again. He is a load. Watch number 45. He leads the play. They pull the guard, Palermo, and you get all that weight working up the field. Brian Calhoun just gets on their hip and follows them.
The only thing really different tonight is these guys are still in the game. This time they were sitting and watching against Temple a week ago. Stocko sacked at the 42-yard line. Spun down. Chase Page gets to him, the senior. Leader of the defensive line out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Chase Page makes the play. Beat Matt Lawrence, number 76, the guard, to make that sack on John Stocko.
Did you get the impression, spending a little time with Chase yesterday, he would just as soon have kicked off at 1 o'clock Friday rather than sit and have to talk to us and wait over 24 hours to finally get on the field?
He said, we want to be in a bowl game.
2nd and 17. Heavy rush, almost picked.
I think about what John Bunning said the other day in the meeting. Our guys are not making the interceptions. They get their hands on them, but they can't make the play. Gilly Taylor, number 33, is going to get his hands on the football. And John Bunning even threw the footballs to the linebackers. He said we need to bring in the interceptions.
Riley Taylor with a shot at that one. They missed 3 chances last week, including one in the end zone. So here's 3rd and 17. Empty backfield, Stocko middle screen. Owen Daniels with a head of steam. Daniels flagged down. Touchdown, but we'll wait for the indication. 2 flags. If it stands, it's 41 yards for Owen Daniels. Tar Heels start to applaud. You start to think holding.
Holding, number 1 of the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty.
Well, good news is
they're done.
Brandon Williams is back in the game. The bad news is he held and cost Daniels a touchdown.
Yeah, Brandon Williams said, not me. One time when the receiver gets downfield, sometimes they have a long time. They're going to call it on Brian Calhoun, number 2. That's the call. That's why Brandon Williams was saying, that wasn't me. But sometimes you get down the field and you have to stay with your block a long time and you hold. They called that on Brian Calhoun.
Had to have been. Obviously nothing they could have thrown on Brandon Williams. He said number 1, but it was Brian Calhoun, much more the guilty party on that look than was Williams. So 3rd and 10 at the 34. Stocko, deep ball, one-on-one, overthrown for Jonathan Orr.
That's what Wisconsin worked on early fall practice. They want more long pass plays. They want a bigger vertical game. They picked on Quentin Person, but John Stocko couldn't get the ball to Jonathan Orr.
Alvarez still steaming at the touchdown by Daniels callback. So he gets Taylor Melhoff, who has tried only 1 field goal so far. He hit it against Temple. He nails this one a mile, and it is no good. It's wide. Plenty of leg from 51, but it stays 7-3.
Keep encouraging North Carolina here. The upset because of mistakes, penalties, and Barry Alvarez has seen this. I mean, you don't want to be on the road and start to foul up like Wisconsin is. You just open up the dike for North Carolina to come through.
He's down there thinking they have whipped Carolina every way they can. They've outgained them 161-51. And for all that, a 4-point lead. And Carolina ball, a little over 2 minutes to go. Baker sacked. And a loss of 4 at the 30. Nick Hayden gets to him first. Quickly joined by Matthew Shaughnessy.
Again, the problem North Carolina has is no running game to keep Wisconsin's defense honest. Very good play caller and offensive coordinator, Gary Tranquil.
Carolina, like Wisconsin, is relying on a transfer tailback, Barrington Edwards, who is part of LSU's national title team a couple years ago, but not a big part. And they sat out last year. Edwards gets the call here. It's a nice chunk. Spilled by Mark Zalewski after a gain of 11.
How would you like to look at that roster at LSU and see Alec Broussard, Justin Vincent, Joseph Adai, Sharon Carey. Here's Gary Tranquil calling these plays. So that's why he said, I'm moving to North Carolina.
Monday, September 19th, ABC Sports, ESPN, and the National Football League join together to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. A special NFL doubleheader begins at 7:30 Eastern when the Giants face the Saints, and then at 9, ABC's Monday Night Football brings you the Redskins against the Cowboys, with the conclusion of the Giants-Saints game moving to ESPN. Join NFL Hurricane Relief and give what you can. Monday, September 19th, it starts at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC. And to donate, you can call 1-800-HELP-NOW or log on to redcross.org. Help the victims on the Gulf Coast. And Mike, you have seen way too much of that in person.
We have, and just think of the policemen and the fire department, the emergency people, and everybody that does such a great job. The troops that are down in the area, they just are working, doing a great job.
So 3rd and 3 after the timeout. Baker, time, open, Mason, big gainer. Well, knocks it out of his hands, but they mark him out of bounds around the 33. Mike Mason, catch and run of 25 yards. However, a marker down.
A 24-yard gain on the play.
Pass interference on the offense. That's a 15-yard previous spot. Repeat, 3rd down.
Came open so wide, you figure there's a pick somewhere in that pattern. To get Mike Mason that wide open.
7th penalty against North Carolina for 55 yards, 4 for 35 against Wisconsin.
John Bunning saying, hey, where is it? North Carolina really hurting themselves with penalties.
They are not playing the kind of game that can beat Wisconsin, but they're within 4 points. Sometimes their own worst enemies. 25-yard gain wiped out. 3rd and 18 is the result. And they go draw play for Darrington Edwards. For about 5. And the clock inside the final minute of the first half. So now if you're Wisconsin, you're thinking, use a timeout. Use as much of this final minute as you can, because you're going to get fairly decent field position probably. Our Star Motorcycles halftime report coming. We'll have an update from the Swamp, where Urban Meyer gets indoctrinated into Florida, Tennessee. The Irish Eyes are not smiling, but they had an amazingly entertaining overtime game with Michigan State there in South Bend this afternoon. And our key play, the would-be touchdown grab through the hands of Jesse Holly.
So many big plays called back.
Jesse Holly, also a member of that national championship basketball team, was wondering yesterday if John Bunning might let him possibly leave the locker room early and go take part in the ring ceremony. I don't like his chances right now.
I can tell you right now, he's not getting his ring at halftime because John Bunning's trying to figure a way. Gary Tranquill, the offensive coordinator, trying to figure a way to get this ball in the end zone. He'll get it. Get it tomorrow.
Just won't get it in front of 60,000 people.
He'd rather have that pass.
Woolridge to punt with 57 seconds. Badgers will have one timeout to work with, and we'll see what kind of field position. A great looking punt. Williams at his 22. First man misses. And to the 29. 48 on the kick by Woolridge, and it comes back 8.
Justin Phillips on the tackle for the Tar Heels.
Well, not only the drop touchdown pass by Jesse Holley. In fact, Dave Ryan, that's really the least of what he's had to go through this week.
Well, Dave, that's right. Just over a week ago, Jesse Holley lost his grandmother, Yvonne. She passed on just before last week's game with Georgia Tech. Yvonne raised Jesse and his two brothers. They were very close. Before each game, Yvonne called Jesse to wish him luck. After games, there were several messages on his cell phone from Yvonne. He tells us a few times this week he wanted to call his grandmother, but she wasn't there. A very sad week for him.
So she's got the best seat in the universe right now, looking down, watching from heaven tonight, as that one is broken up by Larry Edwards. What a mixture of emotions he's had with his grandmother passing away, missing some practice because of having to return to the funeral on Tuesday. Called her my life, my rock. And in fact, he said he was making dinner this week, and he knew he was missing an ingredient, just automatically picked up the phone, dialed his grandmother, because she was going to tell him what he needed to add, and then it dawned on him. Oh, yeah. That's when it really hit. R.I.P. honoring his late grandmother tonight. 3rd and 10 coming for the Badgers. 20 seconds. They still have their last timeout. Evidently not of the mind to use it.
I think North Carolina may call a timeout, but they're satisfied to go to the locker room.
Kind of figured on a higher scoring game with the Wisconsin running attack. And what we expected to be a more impressive North Carolina passing attack. Badgers have outgained the Heels by 99 yards, but they only lead 7-3 down to Dave Ryan.
Coach, what do you tell your defense about trying to shut down Wisconsin's run game in the second half? It's no secret they're going to try to jam it right down your throat.
Well, there's no doubt about that. They do it to everybody, and it's not a secret. They're very good at it. We've tried very hard. I'll be interested to see what the stats are. I always look at them, particularly the run game, but we need to be better on third down again, and we need to convert some third downs ourselves. We've got to quit getting the penalties. The penalties are really hurting us right now.
That's what you talked about with us in our meeting yesterday, the MO, missed opportunities. How do you try to avoid the penalties?
Well, I think we'll settle down, and I really do. I think it's our second game now. We should come out here and play a great second half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Dave?
Well, he's not going to like what he sees in the running game at 71-25. Wisconsin at 7-3 Wisconsin. We'll send you back now to Matt Weiner, the Star Motorcycles halftime report.
Back out to the third quarter from Chapel Hill after this.
Just about set for the start of the second half at sold-out Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. 7-3 lead for Wisconsin over North Carolina. Welcome again, Dave Barnett, Mike Gottfried. And if you're Barry Alvarez in Wisconsin, you're thinking, how can we have dominated so much statistically and lead by only 4 points?
That's right. And they're going to come back, to run the football, get big plays in the passing game, but try to wear this North Carolina defense down the fourth quarter.
As expected, Brian Calhoun has been their star. They have already run him 21 times. They have outgained North Carolina by almost 100 yards. North Carolina had a 52-yard field goal call back because of a delay, or else this would be a one-point game. But Calhoun by himself has outgained the entire North Carolina offense. 72 for him, 63 total Carolina yards, including just 38 on the air on 4 out of 9 for the quarterback, Matt Baker. For more, we check in with Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. Just spoke with Barry Alvarez, the Wisconsin head coach, a few moments ago after his team came out of the locker room. He said our team played a pretty good first half with foolish penalties. The Bookers, Stanley turnover deep inside North Carolina territory really hurt them badly in the first half. He said third down conversions will be critical, and kick coverage, too, for field position, very important for Wisconsin in the second half, Dave.
And the second half underway. Taylor Melhoff with the kick. Mike Mason on the return. Great coverage by the Badgers. They have Mason at the 15. And at halftime, the men's national basketball champions. And Roy Williams, with the moment he has waited his entire adult life for. He finally celebrates his national championship.
Guard
ring.
Pretty sure some of those rings will never, ever be taken off those fingers. They worked so hard for it, especially Roy Williams. And Jesse Holley talked yesterday about how happy Roy Williams was and how grateful he was after that championship, going from player to player saying thank you, because such a huge weight had been lifted, particularly off his shoulders.
Tells you what kind of athlete Jesse Holley is to play basketball here at North Carolina and also play football.
Return man Mike Mason appears to be okay, but slow getting up.
Third downs have been bad for North Carolina, 1 out of 7.
They got to have Mike Mason. He's their fastest player. Junior from Rocky Mount. Has him set up after the return at their 16. North Carolina has had virtually nothing to work with in terms of field position all night. More the same here. And a play fake by Baker on first down. Fires complete. Catch is made by Holley. So Holley gets off to a good start at gain of 11. He had that rough first half, the drop touchdown catch. Nothing compared to what he's gone through this week with the loss of his grandmother. So we'll see how he reacts now in the second half.
And he talked about, Dave, that he has to concentrate on football. He said, I'm looking for the future. And football is the future.
Says, I love basketball, but I am in love with football. Barrington Edwards. And Dave Ryan is with the happiest man in Kenan Stadium, Roy Williams.
I think so. Maybe the biggest Carolina football fan here. Coach Williams, what does it feel like to finally wear that championship ring?
It's a great feeling to have our kids come out, and the way the reception from the fans was a fantastic night, and it does look pretty good.
Somehow, you got to think about next season. You got 7 guys gone, 4 lottery picks. How in the world do you rebuild the program?
Well, it's difficult. There's no question you lose your top 7 players, top 7 scorers, excuse me. But what you do is you just go out every day and do the best you can. We've got 5 freshmen. They're going to be asked to do a lot, probably more than they're comfortable with, but we're going to ask them to do it anyway. And then the few old guys that we have coming back, they got a little bit of time, really have to step up their game.
Now, you're a very big football fan and close with head coach John Bunning. What kind of things have you said to the football team when you meet with them?
Well, I just went over to practice and said something to them one day. I've been about 3 or 4 times because I just like to watch. But I just told them they've got a great opportunity, and John's going to do a great job. And if they'll hang in there and do the best they can, every single play, not just every day, but every single play, good things are going to happen. And I really believe that.
Roy, thanks for your time. Take care of that ring.
Well, let's see. Did you get us a good shot of that?
Oh, we can. You got it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
3rd and 9 pass incomplete near midfield. And again, the intended target was Holley.
1 out of 8 on 3rd down. Now, you can't keep your defense on the football field without making 3rd downs. Eventually, they're going to cave in.
Woolridge has had plenty of practice tonight, and he's got some terrific numbers. Running on 4th and 9. Williams, who left the game briefly in the first half, comes up, feels a short one. Marker is down. Williams is spun down at around the 41. And just 34 on that punt. Dave Lipsky referee. Again, this is a Big Ten officiating crew tonight in Chapel Hill.
During the return, holding number 8 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Everybody's talked about North Carolina at night. They're electric. But Barry Alvarez said we're 15-1 at night. Looking for the hold. There it is on Brandon White. Reaching out.
Malik Brown on the hit. 58 for the Heels. A lot of times, Mike, this is almost a meaningless stat, but in a game like this, it means everything. Time of possession.
It really does, Dave, because you wear on the offensive linemen of Wisconsin. They wear on this defense. This defense has played well in the first half for Carolina.
So from the 29, 1st and 10, Stocko out of the eye, or in motion. And same old. Give to Brian Calhoun, who gets about 6. Junior from Oak Creek, Wisconsin, transfer from Colorado. Time after time, following the block by the Hebrew Hammer, Matt Bernstein.
What a block. That's what you want on a linebacker. That's Doug Justice, a very good linebacker in the ACC, being taken down by Bernstein. The Hammer.
They get him in there. They get 2 tight ends. They can play bludgeon ball. In this case, again, out of the eye, Calhoun. And a yard shy of the first. What do you bet? We're going to see more of the same on 3rd down. Bernstein has had some opportunities as a tailback, and against Penn State ran wild at 27 carries, 123 yards, September 25th last year. Last year, career highs 83 carries, 300 rushing yards, started all 12 games as fullback, but had some time at tailback because of some injuries and showed what he could do as the lead man. He is the lead blocker again tonight for Brian Calhoun. And on 3rd and 1, where do you think they're going? Calhoun with the secondary almost to midfield. Another Badger first down, another gain of 10 for Brian Calhoun.
You could almost tell the linebackers, follow Matt Bernstein. He's going to take you to the football. The only thing, he's going to give you a headache, too, when he hits you. Good job, good hole. You see Brian Calhoun just skipping through for the first down. Here's Matt Bernstein. Good block again. Shielding off Larry Edwards. He doesn't have to run the ball either. He doesn't care.
I think he likes to. I know Calhoun likes to. He gets loose with a flag at the 35. 2 of them, in fact, look for a face mask after a gain of 16 more for Brian Calhoun.
Flags on the play.
You know, Barry Alvarez has challenged this offensive line, offensive running game here in the second half.
Personal foul, face mask, number 21 of the defense. 15 yards, first down. Correction, 27 of the defense.
Kareem Taylor, free safety. So precisely the kind of thing North Carolina cannot afford because they're not controlling the ball. They have virtually no offense, 76 total yards. Hanging on by their fingernails within 4.
First down, Wisconsin.
And they give them extra yards on the penalty to the 21 for 1st and 10. They knew coming in they needed almost a mistake-free game, and they needed some big plays. Hasn't happened yet. Calhoun out of the tackle. But then brought down at the 20.
Calhoun carry tackle by center.
I've been impressed with Brian Calhoun. He runs through tackles. He makes you miss. He'll lower his shoulder. He'll take it on. Looks like he's very tough at that tailback position. 194 in the weight.
I don't care how deep Colorado was at running back. Can you imagine moving him to wideout? See what he's done? Already 258-yard game, first start. They got him in motion here. Stocko brought down by Kendreus Guy, the defensive tackle, for a loss of 11.
Kendreus Guy, is just going to come through and beat the block of the offensive line. I think they had a missed assignment there. Just nobody picked up Guy.
He was almost offsides, too. But that is the kind of play they've been needing to make. 3rd and 19. Badgers haven't faced too many of those. Fake the reverse, get the screen for Calhoun. Stays on his feet. Calhoun fights down to the 12-yard line. He needed the 11. This is going to be very close. 18 yards as it stands.
Screen pass has been good for Wisconsin. They hit one to Owen Daniels that was called back. They hit Brian Calhoun on his screen here. It opened very well. There was contact. He kept his feet. Set it up. John Stocco sets it up. There's a block by Matt Lawrence.
And I wondered just for a second, since it was about 1.5 yards, if they might go for it the way they've been running. Here's your answer. Taylor Melhoff out, having missed a 51-yarder. This is going to be right at 30. Eventually.
The sideline wants a timeout. Barry Alvarez running.
Might be close enough to talk over. After all, timeout Badgers. 9:14 in the 3rd. One way or another, looking to add to a 7-3. Time decided to go for it after all on 4th and 1. They need the 11. They will snap this from just outside the 12. And they call on Calhoun, who's going to be close. And I think we'll have it.
That's football in the phone book right there, because that's so tight, the formation. Everybody's in that play.
Well, I thought he had it. Now an unfavorable spot. Looks like he comes up a couple of feet shy. But there was an interesting chess match going on during that entire timeout with John Stocco on the offense running onto the field, then back to the sideline, then back to the field again, and they stop him by the length of the ball. So you figure that would have been a sure 3, but it's definitely a worthwhile gamble with Wisconsin's running game.
Yeah, and the way you're playing defense on North Carolina, you lead them down on that end of the field. Matt Bernstein, Matt Lawrence pulled, but North Carolina came up with a good play, and Barry Alvarez argued the spot of the football.
And I think he argues correctly. Watch where Calhoun falls. Well over the yellow line. I mean, half his body's over that line, and Alvarez continues to try to make that point. But 1st and 10 Carolina, they take over at their 12 after the stop. And after the fake to Edwards, breaking open over the middle. A gain of 11 yards for Justin Phillips, the number 2 tight end out of Pittsburgh, North Carolina.
They're going to get Joe Monty for holding the tight end. Wouldn't let him release.
One more look at this spot on the run by Calhoun. The ref says he skidded forward about 1.5 feet to the yellow line.
Number 95, defense. Penalties decline.
So he fell forward, but the call was ball had hit the ground first. Ball belongs to Carolina. Holding call is on 95, Joe Monty. And it moves it up to the 22.
North Carolina needs a big play out of their wide receivers.
And you know, Mike, I've looked out there and more often than not even seen Jaworski Polak on the field. As Baker looks in some traffic to the side and again tries to go to Justin Phillips incomplete. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
All right, Dave, Mike had said in the first half North Carolina is going to win this game. They'll have to do it with the pass game and not the run game. It's going to be that much more difficult with Mike Mason out of the lineup. A left shoulder contusion is what UNC trainers are telling me. Definitely done for the night. And, guys, he's in a lot of pain. He's been lifting that left arm up and down, trying to get a little motion, range of motion to it, and it's not easy. He really is hurting right now.
That happened on that return to begin the second half, so the fastest offensive Tar Heel no longer available, and you saw on the left side offensively.
False start, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still, second out.
Charleston Gray lift up from his stands.
John Bunning talked about the penalties and how much it hurt his football team against Georgia Tech. Hurting them tonight.
And these games where they've got opportunities, they're in a lot of different formulas playing the toughest schedule in the nation. So another winnable game here tonight. There's a catch over the middle by Pollock. Finally shows up, reaches the 26. Pollock nearing the school career reception record, but has had a very quiet night tonight.
He's small. Garrett Tranquil said he could be a jockey.
Started the night, 14 catches, behind the record held by Nay Brown. Gary Tranquil, offensive coordinator, now with a call on 3rd and 6. Roy Holiday, 4 catches ahead of Pollock. And a 5-man rush on Baker. Tom sets up, delivers wide open, and he overthrows Jesse Holley. Well, in the first half, it was on Holley. He dropped the touchdown pass, and Baker knows this one is on him.
Jesse Holley on a corner route, which means he's heading to the corner against Alan Langford. Beats him, he's open, but I tell you, when you look at Jesse Holley, he didn't come out of his break. He looked like he slowed down. Maybe as much his fault as Matt Baker.
Maybe they share it, but it's 4th and 6. You're right, he did not explode out of that cut. Another Woolridge punt. Brandon Williams with the flag to the 45. Only 38 yards on that David Woolridge kick. John Stocco, the Badger offense, ready to go back to work. From where, we'll find out.
3rd and return. Illegal block in the back. Number 92 of the receiving team. First down.
Matthew Shaughnessy, guilty party. 7:36, 3rd quarter. Still. Low-scoring game, penalty-marred game. There have been a total of 15 mark-offs. The latest against the Badgers has them starting at their own 24. 1st and 10, middle of the 3rd. Up 7-3. And the short toss for Brandon Williams, who is quickly guided out of bounds by Cedric Holt. But Mike, has just been the inability of either team to get any kind of momentum going. They get something established, it looks like, and then here come penalties and here come mistakes.
Wisconsin started out. Booker Stanley fumbled when they were heading in the goal line area. Here's a screen to Owen Daniels. It was called back on Brian Calhoun's holding, and then the short on the 4th down.
Gain of 4, 2nd and 6. Calhoun already over 100 yards. He's going to have a 3rd and 4. That his 28th carry. And at 112 yards. I hope he has a reserved jacuzzi in the Wisconsin football facility, because he's going to need plenty of hours in it this week.
Remember, he sat out last year, so he's really fresh.
But that's not going to last long with this kind of workload.
He's a horse.
43 carries, 1 game, headed well toward that direction tonight. There's a big 3rd and 3, and Stocko fires and complete. And a first down to the 36-yard line on the catch by Jonathan Orr. Let's get a Matt Weiner update in the studio.
This update brought to you by Taco Bell, Tennessee and Florida. Number 5, number 6 in the swamp. SEC opener for Urban Meyer's team leading 7-0, but Eric Ainge finds Brent Smith in the corner of the end zone to tie it up at 7. They're now at the half. Texas cruising against Rice 45-3 and counting in the third.
Jamal Charles, 16 carries, 189 yards. That's a true freshman. Oversharing against Young tonight. Stocko, nowhere to go, dumped at the 34. Larry Edwards is there. Victor Worsley and Kareem Taylor.
Good pressure by the Tar Heels. I keep waiting for Owen Daniels to break out here. They bring him in motion. He's been blocking a lot, and he is a very good pass receiver. Here's a good coverage. John Stocko maybe moves too fast and got the sack.
Not that many second and longs tonight for Wisconsin. Here's one. They need 12. And Stocko looks for the middle screen. That one through the hands of Calhoun and almost picked off. And furious with himself for not doing it is
Just a follow-up
Iowa
again.
Taylor has a shot at this one.
Screen to Brian Calhoun, but North Carolina was ready for the screen. Brandon Williams has been the go-to guy. He's the inside receiver for Wisconsin.
He's got 5 catches for 62. After the near pick by Taylor, the out by Orr, and wrestled out shy of the first at the 44. A gain of 11 as Quentin Person is there to make sure Orr does not get the first.
Broke his route off, runs it out. Jonathan Orr against man coverage. Doesn't get far enough for the first down. Came back to the ball against Quentin Person. It forces this punt.
Person 5'11", 180. Coaches say pound for pound toughest man on the team. That's the description of the defensive coordinator Marvin Sanders. So DeBush, who, like Woolridge, has had himself a good night. Brandon Tate will let this one fall, and the Badgers are going to kill it at the 2, maybe the 1. 54 yards, perfect punt coverage by Wisconsin. Dead at the 2-yard line.
They're talking it over whether it touched a North Carolina player.
Illegally touched by the kicking team. It'll be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
It was touched, but not by a North Carolina player. Carolina will touch it from their own 2 with 5:15 to go in the third.
Well, if you're John Bunning, you think about this ball game, third downs. Just if you could hit a third down in a big play.
Tell you what, that almost looked like it bounced off the foot of Tate, didn't it?
Yes.
In which case, one more look here. Would have been first and goal from the 2, Wisconsin. Instead, Baker going deep out of his own end zone. And at the 28, it's brought in. That is a catch, and as big a catch as they've had all night. Wallace Wright for 27 yards.
Dave, you're right. Wallace Wright made a great catch to get them out of the end zone throwing the football. Wallace Wright dropped a pass, long pass against Georgia Tech last week. He makes up for it with a great catch against Brett Bell.
Wallace Wright, former walk-on.
The previous play is being reviewed.
So they want to see if Wright brought this one down in bounds or not. Mike Mason continues to get patched up. Dave Ryan reported. Injured shoulder on quick return beginning the second half.
Ron Gilbert looking at this play.
Must be irrefutable. That would not be the angle, I don't think, to make it irrefutable. This one might be. And I think that one might come down. I think he's still juggling it, and the knee touches.
I'm going to give him the catch.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to say no catch.
We're against each other.
I'm going to say no catch.
That was a great catch.
It was that. We'll just see if it counts or not. No questions. Terrific grab.
After further review, the play stands as called. First down.
And so much for me second-guessing Mike got through.
That was a remarkable catch by Wallace Wright.
So up to the 28, and the Tar Heels need a lot more where that comes from. So they try the reverse. And fool no one. Right into Joe Stellmacher. Read that one perfectly from strong safety.
He really did read that play. Joe Stellmacher saw the reverse from the start and made that tackle on Wallace Wright.
Junior from Berlin, Wisconsin.
Saw those muscles, the kinesiology major.
He actually knows what the names of all those muscles are. Defense had allowed 45 total yards last week to Temple. Lowest in school history. They've allowed under 121 total tonight. As Baker steps up, felt the heat, dropped it to 25. Nick Hayden on the stop and update from Matt Weiner.
Dave, the long-awaited debut of the Tulane football season delayed by Hurricane Katrina and now playing in Shreveport, but they're at it with Mississippi State. The interception there, but still no scoring. It's 0s at the half.
Well, it will never be business as usual for Tulane or LSU or any of those teams down there, but at least they are in business now.
I like Tulane's football team this year. I think they're going to be good.
1 for 9 converting third downs. Baker will get this one. As Holly brings it in, and Baker ends up writhing in pain after an 18-yard completion. This is one position where they have absolutely no depth. They have a redshirt freshman, Joey Bozich, behind Baker, who has never taken a snap. Behind him, they have a walk-on sophomore, Ben Johnson, who also has never taken a snap.
He talked about Matt Baker. He talked about the backup quarterbacks. He said Joey Bozich can do the job, but really inexperienced. Matt Baker took a hit. Stretched out a bad snap. Both defensive ends met at the quarterback. Shaughnessy, number 92.
And blitzing linebacker, too, Lamar Watkins, 24, got him. So as Baker is looked at after the completion to Holly, a timeout. Anxious moments at Kenan Stadium.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Nissan, who reminds you to shift the way you move through the world. And Taco Bell, think outside the bun.
7-3, and we are about to see the collegiate debut of Joey Bozich, redshirt freshman from Hinsdale, Illinois, who, not surprisingly, hands it off. And there's yardage around right in with a flag down for Tudor Arnold. Now, Matt Baker pulled himself up, and you could read all kinds of things on his face. Toughness, pain, the need to stay in, the knowledge that they don't have anything behind him. He had been down a good 4 or 5 minutes, and just look for yourself. Read all those emotions on his face.
That's a 50-yard penalty. First down.
And the determination right there not to stay out any longer than he has to. Garrett Reynolds, meanwhile, call for the Carolina penalty. Most of the injuries have been to the Tar Heels. Doug Justice, their middle linebacker, has got ice on his foot. He's out for at least a while, it would appear. Baker comes out after missing only one play. So after the penalty on Garrett Reynolds, 1st and 25 coming, but at least they have Baker back out. Let's go down to Dave Ryan.
Well, the Matt Baker injury, guys, was shot to the right rib cage, and some of the assistant coaches coming to him, along with some teammates, urging him to get back in the game. They realized it wasn't that serious. Certainly wasn't a threatening injury to take him out of the game. Joey Bozich looked like you do, Coach Gottfried, those big eyes down here on the sideline. He was pretty shocked to go in the game for just that one play, got a high five or two. He's quite a story himself in that 1 year of prep ball in Maine. He was a late recruit added by North Carolina. Excited to get that one play in, I'm sure.
And one of the guys who just put Baker out, Lamar Watkins, was the injured Badger. And he hops up and trots off.
He looks like he's okay. North Carolina needs one big play out of a wide receiver. Jesse Holley, Pollock, Wallace Wright. Somebody's got to make a play on the outside.
Mason has returned. Dave Ryan reported Mike Mason would not be expected to play the rest of the half. He went wide left. And a flag down as the catch is made by Arnold and move up to midfield by Cooter Arnold. As we wait for this flag, brought down by Casey Hogan, a gain of 23.
There is a flag on the play.
Coming back, holding.
Holding, number 77, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
And this has not been a good possession for Charleston Gray. He's had a false start, now he's got a hold.
Mistakes after mistakes, and still only 4 points behind.
With that many penalties for 100 yards, you would never think they'd be within 4 points.
No running game, and on third down to be 2 out of 10. Still only 4 points behind.
How many volunteers for 1st and 35 up at the coach's box to make this call? It's Arnold. And another marker is down, and the fans, having seen just about enough of the yellow flags. Arnold reached the 23. The flag is back at the line. Another false start on Carolina. Unbelievable.
Illegal formation, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage on the offense. Penalties decline, second down.
You figure in the penalties, North Carolina has netted 31 yards now. A total of 31 yards when you figure in the 105 penalty yards. Unbelievable. Second and 35. Nothing new for Arnold. And an update from Matt Warner.
Dave, over on ESPNU, it's UConn and Georgia Tech. Matt Bonoslawski, picked by Kenny Scott, pick 6. He'll add a flip for good measure. They've scored 21 unanswered without Reggie Ball playing tonight, up 28-13.
Well, the Georgia Tech team that held off an upset bid by Carolina in Atlanta. Now, to hold Wisconsin to 98 rushing yards late in the third quarter is a pretty monumental accomplishment. And as big a reason as any, they're within 4 points. Can they get anything going offensively? Baker chased again, throws into coverage. The catch is made by Holly, but he's 6 yards shy of the first, a gain at 26. But Mike, he may finally be getting his favorite target going.
Yeah, Jesse Holly's come open here in the third quarter. You got to punt the football here. Fans, I like the fans here. 2nd and 35, they booed on the draw. And there's not a whole lot of 2nd and 35 plays.
I thought maybe they were booing the 11th flag, having seen enough of that. But they at least get it up near midfield, and in the exchange should get something out of the field position given them by David Woolridge. Off the side of the foot, Williams says run away from it, and it's killed at the 15. 37 yards. And let's ask our Aflac quick trivia question for tonight. Who is currently the youngest coach in Division 1A? Currently the youngest coach in Division 1A. It will change next year, but we're talking about this year.
Just got a job, right?
New to the position.
To play quarterback.
Played some great quarterback. That's all the hints we should get.
That's it.
Badgers have had much the better of the field position. Not at the moment now. First down near 15, and Stocco chased before bouncing that one a good 10 yards in front of Daniels and drawing the flag. Kentwan Ballmer with the bead on Stocco with a pretty obvious intentional grounding.
Dave, it looked like Owen Daniels to me, number 11, who was running shallow cross. Looked like he was being held. He was a receiver. He's coming across right here. It looks like he's being held here by Tommy Richardson. He was the receiver John Stocco was trying to get the ball to.
Well, isn't it usually a pretty good evidence of holding when your shoulder pad comes out of your jersey?
I'd say.
This is going to back up Wisconsin to its 2, and it's 2nd and 23. We've been talking all night about Carolina needing to make a play, only down by 4. Outgained 2-1 all night. How about now to make a play? No room for Brian Calhoun, maybe a yard.
The game last week we had LSU and Arizona State. The special teams ended up winning that game for LSU. Blocked a field goal, blocked a punt. This defense right here, if they could get a turnover or the special teams could set up the offense and help them, give them a short field, they could take this lead.
3rd and 22. Wisconsin not wanting to punt from the very back of their own end zone. So how do they figure first to avoid that, then to try and get 22 yards? Stocco lets it fly. Williams separated from the ball by Cedric Holtz. One of the best hits of the night. Also one of the best throws of the night. He almost got Brandon Williams.
Defense of North Carolina and John Bunning have done their job. Now they need special teams to set them up. Cedric Holt with a good hit.
So DeBush as far back as he can get in his end zone. It's off a beauty. Back it up to the 41. Brandon Tate. And the Heels will start from their 47. A 55-yarder by DeBush. Right when they needed a bomb, he provides it with 9 seconds to go in the third.
Looks like North Carolina should stay in the shotgun, put Matt Baker back there every now and then, run a draw, keep throwing this football.
They got 139 through the air, 27 on the ground on 20 carries. Barely a yard per attempt. And Baker's not spectacular, but he's 10 out of 19 for 139. That has been what's working. And Baker with time fires in and out of the hands that time of Darrell Mitchell. And the kind of plays that the heel receivers have to make, and too often tonight have not made.
Play action, the pass by Matt Baker, not holding the linebackers. Wisconsin not respecting the running ability of the Tar Heels.
Well, and easy to see why. 20 carries, 27 yards. North Carolina's not shown them any running game yet. 2nd and 10. Got to get something out of taking over at your own 47 here. Should be last play, 3rd quarter. Baker hit as he delivers and incomplete. Intended at midfield for John Hamlet. So the end of the 3rd quarter. And a game still statistically dominated by Wisconsin, but they cannot open up more than a 7-3 lead. First trip ever into ACC territory for the Badgers. All the penalty yardage against them, they have in their favor against Wisconsin. Woolridge, great chance to pin him inside the 5 if he gets the bounce. Flags everywhere, ball into the end zone on a 53-yarder.
Couple flags.
Look for interference with the fair catch being signaled by Williams. Dennis Lipsky will tell us.
Illegal block all the ways on the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the 20-yard line. First down.
Well, they didn't say who. Looked like 88 Brooks Foster. And so big help in terms of field position for the Badgers. Watch 88, and there it is. Right in the middle of your screen. Easy call to make. Brooks, a redshirt freshman, also like Jesse Holly, doubles on the basketball team. It's the Badgers a first down from their 35 as they begin the 4th quarter. And they begin it the way they played the first 3 with a give to Brian Calhoun. Let's answer our Aflac trivia question. The currently youngest head coach in Division 1A, Mike, you were right, he just got the job. And it is a former quarterback by the name of Mike Gundy. And his alma mater of Oklahoma State, 38 years of age. But next year, when Brett Bielema takes over for Barry Alvarez, there will be a new youngest coach because he will be 36. Brett Bielema off the same coaching tree as Alvarez. It was traced back to Hayden Fry. Calhoun dragged down to 39. And it's interesting, Mike, to hear both of them, Barry and Bielema, talk about how that decision was made and why it was announced when it was.
Really believe they thought if they make the decision early, the players and the coaches will concentrate on the season. Kansas State under Bill Snyder spent some time there and really had a good defense. But that does leave the other coaches in limbo.
Not only have they not lost any recruits, they've actually picked up a couple, so that's a factor too. Underthrown, Williams not clean, trying to make his cut at midfield.
You just invite this team over to dinner
and you're just giving them more chances all the time to hit one play and win this football game. Wisconsin can't keep their offensive football team on the field.
So we just saw DeBush dealt a 55-yarder out of his own end zone. That's another good one. And the trade is 12. That's where that comes to an end. Zach Hampton with the special teams coverage on a 48-yarder. 13:05 to go. Right where we've been all night. 7-3. Time Carolina back up near their own end zone. They start 1st and 10 at their 10. Couple of minutes gone. 4th quarter down 4. Right where we were at the half. Some room. What do you know? Cooter Arnold with a burst of 12 yards. And that for a running game that had managed a total of 27 yards on 20 carries before that game by the true freshman from Mocksville, North Carolina.
Nice play called by Derek Tranquil. The draw on 1st down. Wisconsin bearing up the football field trying to rush the passer.
Breathing room from the 22. And Baker, knowing he's going to get hit, as a man, Wallace Wright. Wright is out of bounds inside the 40. And Baker comes away holding that right rib cage that was injured late in the 3rd quarter. He got it popped again, but he hits right for 40.
It's a good pass, Dave. Wallace Wright did a good job of adjusting to the football. Matt Baker's going to take a hit. Right here, he was hit earlier in his ribs, took a hit from Zalewski, and here's the adjustment by Wallace Wright. You see him spin around, pirouette, and make that play against Alan Langford.
So from their 10 to the Badger 37. And again, some room for Arnold, who trips after about 6. That looked like it might have turned into 15 or 20. Let's get Matt Weiner an update in the studio.
All right, Dave, Florida up a field goal now on Tennessee. That one in the 3rd quarter, but they're down a weapon. Andre Caldwell scored the only touchdown for the Gators, hit hard on the return, left with an air cast on his leg. It has not returned.
Just not sure if that rivalry is going to be the same unless Urban Meyer changes personalities and figures out some nasty things to say about Tennessee. You know? The Steve Spurrier needle made that what it was in the 90s. Baker chased and got rid of it in the arms of Matt Shaughnessy. Late flag. Baker's argument was, I was throwing it because I had no control of my body, not because I was trying to intentionally ground it.
There is no foul on the play. The quarterback was outside the tackle, and the ball was thrown beyond the line of scrimmage. Incomplete pass.
He won the argument.
Yep.
Shaughnessy with pressure on Matt Baker.
3rd and 6 from the 33-yard
So the biggest
line.
3rd down of the game coming right here for John Bunning. 3rd and 6. You realize this is early in the 4th quarter. They simply have not had scoring chances. They've got one field goal. That was back in the 2nd quarter. They need 6 yards here. Baker overthrows Pollock open at the 10. And he didn't overthrow him by much. He hasn't looked Jaworski Pollock's way that often. A near miss here.
Had him on the corner route. The little wide receiver, 5'8", 170. Couldn't find the football.
If he's 5'9", he makes that catch.
Let's go back on that field goal that they had to delay a game.
52-yarder wiped out, right? Here's a 50-yarder by Connor Barth. And this one is wide right. In the first half, he had what would have been the longest kick of his career, a 52-yarder wiped out because of a delay of game. He later would hit from 43. That's still all the points North Carolina has managed. That was a promising drive from their own 10. They still come away with nothing.
Now you figure Wisconsin is going to go back to this ground game. Barry Alvarez on the sideline knows his defense has been in control of the Tar Heel offense.
Badgers back to work from their 33. Looking ready to keep pounding it out of the eye. Calhoun again. Tar Heels ready. 32nd carry for Calhoun. He's at 118 yards.
Schedule for Wisconsin will be at Wisconsin next week for Michigan. No Ohio State on that schedule.
Michigan at home, no Ohio State. They go to Hawaii. Quite a few highlights on this schedule.
At home, Iowa.
No gain. So 2nd and 10. Blitz is picked up. Stocko fires complete. Jonathan Orr right at the first down marker, maybe shy by a yard.
Stocko's pass is complete to Orr. Forced out of bounds by number 13, Cedric Holt for the Tar Heels.
Stocko sticking to shorter stuff than Baker tonight, but 14 of 23 for 138. Baker 11 of 25, 179. So a 3rd and 1. And Wisconsin is one of the teams in the country don't have to guess real hard on what they're going to do on 3rd and 1, especially with Bernstein there in the eye. And Daniels in motion. Breaking it is Calhoun. Up the side and finally knocked out by Kareem Taylor. Boy, once he got past that initial front 7, either one man would finally catch him or it's 14-3. 26 yards before Kareem Taylor careens into him.
Good block by Bernstein, the fullback, and Raiola, the center, number 53. Always think about John Riggins' run in that Super Bowl when the short yardage situation, it can pop.
Looked a lot like that one. So 1st and 10 Badgers from the 33 of Carolina. And again breaking tackles is Calhoun to the 18-yard line. Getting stronger as the game wears on. 14 more here.
This is where Wisconsin hurts you because they're going to continue to run the football. Brian Calhoun looks like he's fresh. I know he's carried the football all night, but he looks fresh. A powerful running back. They wear on you. They wear you down in the 4th quarter.
Well, he said, I had a whole year off to transfer. I'm not worried about getting worn out. You have to believe him with a performance like this one tonight. Cuts back to the 15. And don't forget our Sunday night matchup, the Oakland Raiders featuring now Randy Moss and Lamont Jordan, welcoming Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, and their longtime rivals Kansas City Chiefs. Raiders also available high definition on ESPN HD. Coverage begins with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite, Sunday, 7:30 Eastern. Dave Barnett, Mike Gottfried, and Dave Ryan in Chapel Hill, where it's been 7-3 the entire second half. 2nd and 7, Wisconsin. Calhoun looking right. Nope, this time Booker Stanley gives Calhoun a play off. And Booker Stanley fights his way down to the 8, very close to 1st and goal. One thing doesn't change, Bernstein leading the way, and now Calhoun's had his one play off.
He's a guard at fullback, pulling guard. Here, watch this block. Now he's helmet to helmet, opens up Booker Stanley, who's fresh. Nice 1-2 punch by Wisconsin.
Badgers' 4th trip to the red zone tonight. They're 1 for their first 3. That was an 8-yard run by Calhoun. This is 1st and goal from the 8. And they give to the fullback a rare running opportunity. one that he certainly deserves as much as he clears the path for everybody else. Matt Bernstein gets it down to the 4.
Here's what they said. Matt, we're going to give you the ball this time. You block, you block, you block. He blocks the whole ball game. He looked pretty quick on that play.
Well, we showed what he did against Penn State last year. That 123 yards at 6'2", 266. Little scat back. 2nd and goal from the 4. Looking for the cutback to the goal line. Touchdown. Brian Calhoun scores again.
Calhoun on the 4-yard line for the Badgers. Touchdown, Wisconsin.
He's got both the Wisconsin touchdowns tonight. He already has 8 in not quite 3 games this year.
You go back to the North Carolina offense not being able to sustain the 3rd downs and keep their defense off the field.
The extra point by Taylor Melhoff. On the drive, 47 yards on 5 carries, including the last 4 by Brian Calhoun, 14-3. 3 on the 2nd touchdown run of the night by Brian Calhoun with 7:12 to go. And you get the feeling that John Bunting rehearsed the same speech he's going to give tomorrow last week, because this game has got to feel so much like the loss to Georgia Tech to him, which he summed up in 2 letters, M.O., missed opportunity. After the touchback, an update from Matt Weiner.
All right, Dave, Florida State still trailing at Boston College, but it looked like not for long, because Lorenzo Booker takes the screen pass and has some room to run. He kicks it outside, down the sideline, and apparently down the end zone, but lost the football. Matthias Kiwanuka, the All-American, strips it from him at the last moment. Out of bounds. It's a touchback for BC. They still lead it by 3.
Now, that was the grandson of the former Prime Minister of Uganda making that play for BC.
Pretty good, Dave.
You watch game day, you learn stuff. 1st and 10, Baker. Almost picked off by Mark Zalewski. Down to Dave Ryan.
Well, Dave, as you can imagine, a very excited sideline here for Wisconsin. Some of the coaches telling Brian Calhoun a moment ago, you're a big-time back who makes big-time plays, a difference maker. And remember what we said about John Bunting trying to wear down Brian Calhoun as the game went on? Well, it has not worked, because, as Mike said, he's gotten stronger as the game has gone on here in the 4th quarter. Now, if Wisconsin is going to shut down North Carolina here late, they'll have to do it without Jamal Cooper, who's still flat on his back. Bad left knee injury, done for the night. A star for Wisconsin. They're so good that first half, Dave.
And done for the night. Middle linebacker for Carolina, Doug Justice. Bruised foot. Deep ball right. Broken up. Alan Langford, the redshirt freshman corner, makes the play. The chances, Mike Gottfried, have been there all night for Carolina.
Holly misses this touchdown pass, although it would have been tough. There's a miss in the pass to Holly, and then they have the little wide receiver, Pollock open, can't get him the ball. And here's the last one.
Baker 1 for his last 8, 11 for 27 for 179 and a pick. 3rd and 10. Under 7 minutes. Plenty of time. Holly makes the play for 40. That's what they've needed, 20 yards. Baker again comes up holding that right rib cage. That's at least the 3rd time he has come up injured on that side. And he had to actually leave the game for 1 snap.
He's taken some hits.
Zalewski pounding him. Do you think Wisconsin's not zeroing in on that part of his anatomy? Having seen him hold it as often as he has. Baker proving some toughness tonight. One just to scramble here, and he trips and loses a couple into the arms of Jason Chapman. Joey Bozich took 1 snap while Baker gathered himself after the first injury, bruising of the right rib cage. It was only the one play. There is zero experience behind Matt Baker. So as long as he's upright, he's the quarterback. That much is obvious. And that one is almost picked off by Langford, who makes the break. Perfectly timed. Over along the side in front of Holly.
Dave, you talked about the rib injury, and sometimes when you have a sore rib, you can't get anything on the ball on the outside, the outs. And Alan Langford was right there, but that football didn't look like it had much on it. He may be really hurting, and it's hurting his throwing arm.
But you have to know one more thing going through his mind is, I have waited 5 years for this opportunity. It's going to take more than a bruised rib cage to get me knocked out of here. And he keeps and comes up a yard shy of the first at the 49, a gain of 11. Lamar Watkins on the tackle. Remember, he sat and watched Darian Durant for 3 years, waited and waited and waited, and he finally has his chance. And I think you are going to have to do something a lot worse than bruise his rib cage to get Matt Baker out of any game this year.
No, I think you're right. Perseverance, you got to go for it right here, because your offense is stumbling around, but the problem is you don't have a running game. But you got to give the ball to Barrington Edwards and see if he's big back. He's 215. Can he pick up the yard?
Got to get midfield. And they want to do it through the air. Juggled and dropped by Wallace Wright. And if one play can sum up the night you just saw.
He was open, and Matt Baker got him the ball. Trying to throw for the first down. What do you think Wisconsin's going to do now? Run some more. Matt Baker knows he had Wallace Wright open.
Not a perfect pass, an eminently catchable pass. And the Badgers take over with 4:59 remaining on the 49. Carolina all 3 timeouts. Here comes some more of Malone, of Calhoun. Ryan Calhoun to the 42. Brett Bielema in charge of the Wisconsin defense, soon to be in charge of the entire program. One thing Barry Alvarez says that made a lot of sense was he didn't want to hold both jobs, head football coach and athletic director, to the point that either one suffered. And so he made sure, if anything, he'll get out maybe a little early on the coaching side to make sure the AD side isn't affected. But the things that have happened with that program since he arrived 50 years ago are nothing short of remarkable. Calhoun, no game. For instance, $109 million added to Camp Randall Stadium. Kohl Center, $75 million. They just added an $8 million rowing facility, new softball facility. And he says all of that comes from football. And the fact that he's gotten them into 3 Rose Bowls, and they've won 3 Rose Bowls, got this whole thing started. He said when he took over, not just football, the entire athletic program was flat on its back. And in 2 weeks, he recruited what became their first Rose Bowl team. Think of that.
First year's the toughest.
And put together his staff in 2 weeks. Really one of the most remarkable stories in recent college football history, what he's done at that school. It used to be, if you were a Big Ten school, the 2 automatic wins were Northwestern and Wisconsin. That was until the arrival of Barry Alvarez.
You think about Wisconsin, I'd add Virginia Tech, Kansas State in that same kind of rebounding.
Timeout call with 3:18 remaining, and the Badgers protecting a 14-3 lead.
Believe this got thrown like that. The nominees for the Major League Baseball Comeback Player of the Year Award, sponsored by Pfizer, are now online. Vote, and you may win a trip to throw out a ceremonial first pitch at the World Series.
I'm Josh Elliott. Join me for Classic Now, where we take today's breaking sports news and give it to you with a deep perspective and backstory. Classic Now, where the past is always present.
7 and 11 p.m. every weeknight, only on ESPN Classic.
Feeling excluded, left out. Think you haven't got what it takes. Think again. This is the Kia Spectra and the Spectra 5, cars you can all get into. Everyone has the right to a 10-year warranty and 6 airbags. No one should accept less from the man. People, it's 2005. The velvet rope has come down.
The Kia Spectra, at a price everyone could get into, starting around $11,500 after cash back.
BK is making NFL history. Every Coated Angus wrapper scores you gridiron extras, like a free day of NFL Sunday Ticket from DirecTV. You go, King.
ESPN2's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Kia Motors. Kia, the power to surprise. And State Farm. Find out why more drivers on the road choose State Farm. Call your neighborhood State Farm agent.
4th down, and Green Bay sophomore punter Ken DeBush, who has averaged just a hair under 50 yards per kick, will again try to pin North Carolina somewhere around the 10. Jaworski Pollock was back, and it is down at right about the 9. 39 yards, perfectly placed punt. Well, this Wisconsin team, I think, Mike, wondered about itself because their first game, they gave up so many yards and so many points to Bowling Green. No competition at all last week against Temple. What have they learned about themselves tonight?
Well, they've learned they've got a pretty good defense. Offensively, they run the ball well, but they haven't thrown the ball as well as I thought.
They have worn down a North Carolina team that's had absolutely no ground game. 2 or 3 times it looks like they have almost knocked the quarterback Baker out of the game, and he hits a long one, brought in by their fastest wide receiver, Darrell Mitchell, for 40 yards. Mitchell, who had the 87-yard touchdown last week, which tied the second longest pass play in Carolina history. So still hope with 3:02 to go from midfield. And Baker out of the gun. Flag is down. Pass nowhere near anybody, and more flags. There are flags where the pass was thrown. There are flags where the pass ended up.
An offset.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, number 77, offense. Illegal participation. 12 players for the defense. That will offset replay, first down.
Well, they get Charleston Gray again, the sophomore guard. But he gets bailed out by too many men on the field, and so it will stay right where it was, first down at midfield. Gray's had a false start, a hold.
Timeout, Wisconsin.
And the Badgers will call their second timeout here with 2:53 remaining. An update from Matt Weiner in the studio.
Dave, a few minutes ago, we showed you a missed opportunity for Florida State at Boston College. Well, this time the Seminoles cashed in. 63-yard drive finished off by Drew Weatherford to Greg Carr. Noles on top, 21-17.
Boston College being introduced to ACC football. Barry Alvarez has had the game plan of hand it to Calhoun, let him go left, let him go right, every once in a while let him catch a pass. And he's totaled 38 carries, 171 yards, and both Wisconsin touchdowns.
Talked about the passing game. John Stocco has to be better next week. Not just John Stocco, but the entire passing game against Michigan.
All these yards from Calhoun on the lead blocks of Matt Bernstein, and Calhoun has had himself his third major day in as many opportunities in a Badger uniform. 258 in his opener against Bowling Green, 171 and counting in the two scores tonight. Force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten this year. Open over the middle and a grab inside the 30. Wallace Wright, who has become Matt Baker's go-to man here in the second half for 21 yards.
North Carolina on the last two plays have done a pretty good job of protecting Matt Baker. Can't afford to get him hit anymore. If he has time, he'll find the receivers.
Keep him in the gun. Good protection. A little bit of a bobble, but Wright able to hold on at a gain of about 4.
Pass complete to Wallace Wright.
Running says time's a wasting. Carolina has 2 timeouts, 2:22 to go, and they are down 11. At best, a field goal, touchdown, and 2-point conversion. Baker open in the flat. Barrington Edwards breaking the tackle is tripped up by Zalewski, but it's first and goal at the 7, a gain of 18.
That's a good job by Matt Baker, checking down and finding Barrington Edwards. An outlet receiver on a flare pass out of the backfield for a good gain.
So first and goal, and the shotgun draw for Edwards gets him inside the 5 to the 4, under 2 minutes. And they call their second timeout here at 1:56. So they make it interesting.
When you look at this Tar Heel offense, 5th-year senior quarterback, some young guys, freshmen, and a transfer tailback. I really believe Gary Tranquil has done a good job calling plays. He just needs to get a running game. They want a running game, but give the Badgers credit for good defense.
And give Matt Baker credit for his toughness and for having waited his turn 3 years backing up Darian Durant. At least 3 times he's taken shots to his right rib cage. Missed only 1 snap, though. That was after this time when they pulled him up and he grimaced his way to the sideline. But some big connections in the 4th quarter, and he's 16 for 34 for 281 yards, even a keeper or 2. From a football family, father played, grandfather coached at Kalamazoo College. He is from Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Played at Brother Rice, won the state championship in football and lacrosse. Out for Casa.
And you know what else? You know what else you can see from him? He says his role model is Brett Favre, and in the toughness category, that's been very evident tonight. It's about to knock Favre out. Almost impossible. Second and goal from the 4, and incomplete. Edwards was the target.
John Bunning, when you look at the North Carolina schedule, a tough schedule, he said, my goal was to be 1-1 after 2. But he really lost a tough game at Tech and has a very good opponent here And you look at that schedule, Dave.
This is determined by a few folks to be the toughest schedule in the country. 32-4 combined non-conference opponents from last year. Scrambling. Buying time, throwing it away. It'll be 4th and goal from the 4. As again, Baker's got to pick himself up in pain.
Just takes hit after hit from this Wisconsin defense. It's almost like an offensive football team where you try to wear on the defensive line. The defensive line tries to, and the linebackers try to wear on the quarterback all through the game. And you can see Matt Baker.
So now he's got the limp to go with the sore ribs. What kind of pass can he get off here on 4th and goal? Great protection. Back of the end zone. Incomplete for John Hamlet, his tight end. And there goes the last chance. Budding could have settled for 3 and then gambled on the onside kick, touchdown, 2-point conversion, but 4 yards away. Got to get to 7.
I think he made the right call. John Bunning.
Dave Ryan, we have seen Matt Baker put through about as tough a night as a quarterback can have. What have you observed from down there?
Dave, through the ringer, no question about it. We've well documented tonight in our broadcast how many times he's taken a shot to the right rib cage, and that certainly was tender. The last shot he took before the incomplete pass on 4th down was to the right ankle. So, guys, he could not push off on that right foot. His right-handed to the right foot to get a good accuracy on that last pass. There's a big reason he misfired and it went incomplete on 4th down.
And Dave, you talk about Dave Ryan's talking about the conditions of Matt Baker. They have North Carolina State next week, the biggest game of the year.
Well, Monday, September 19th, ABC Sports, ESPN, and the NFL joining together to help the victims of Hurricane Katrina. A special NFL doubleheader begins at 7:30 Eastern when the Giants face the Saints, and then at 9, ABC's Monday Night Football brings you Redskins-Cowboys with the conclusion of the Giants and Saints moving over to ESPN. Join NFL Hurricane Relief. Give what you can. Monday starting at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC. Chris Berman and Robin Roberts conducting the telethon as you get a chance to watch both those games. Giants, Saints, Redskins, Cowboys. Wisconsin just called its final timeout with 1:39 to go here.
Brian Calhoun's had a great night, but he's got to put his arm around that offensive line and the Hebrew hammer, Matt Bernstein, because they have blocked for him all night.
Carolina has 1 timeout remaining. On the sneak, well, a week for Barry Alvarez. They began with the death of his father, Tony, at age 86 in Washington, Pennsylvania on Sunday. He missed practice on Wednesday only to return home for the services. And he made sure that Brett Bielema and the rest of the team, as much as was possible, went through the week with business as usual. But with this heavy heart weighing on him, even though he had the opportunity to spend time and with his kids, get with his father this past summer on one of his good days, he said. And I think there was a lot of closure in that relationship, it sounded like, when Barry was talking about it. But he described his dad as Mr. Blue-Collar guy, the original good guy, loved by everybody. And he especially remembered that when Barry was offered the head coaching job by Pat Richter, his father took the phone call. And when he told Barry the news, he broke down. He was so happy for his son.
Can you imagine the feelings of Barry Alvarez's father when he took that phone call? Barry waiting for the head coaching job and got a chance at Wisconsin. He's had a great career.
can no longer stop the clock. Let's get another update from Matt Weiner.
Dave Urban Meyer is leading in his SEC debut, 13-7. Still plenty of time to go in the fourth quarter in the Swamp. Chris Leak, 13 of 18 on the night. And over on ESPN, Florida State has just blocked a punt there on the BC 6. The big finish happening on ESPN.
Wow. Well, we've had a lower scoring game than we thought. Penalty marred game, total of 19 penalties. 185 yards, 12 mark-offs hurting the Carolina cause. But shockingly now, Mike, they have outgained Wisconsin 338 to 307 because the last couple of marches, even though they got no points out of it, they got a lot of passing yards, but it was nowhere near enough to offset the night that Brian Calhoun put together. 38 carries, 171 yards, and both touchdowns. So through 3 games, 471 yards, 8 touchdowns for Calhoun, the new tailback behind the veteran fullback Matt Bernstein. The Big Ten is getting an eyeful of what's waiting for them.
Michigan, I'm sure, watching this game tonight. Big winner today. Will be ready for the running game next week.
Michigan having lost to Notre Dame, which lost in overtime at home to Michigan State this afternoon. And Barry Alvarez's trying week will end victoriously in their first trip ever for the Wisconsin team to ACC territory. He comes away with a win on Tobacco Road. I think John Bunting, for the second week in a row, is going to say this was an MO, another missed opportunity. The Bush taking the deliberate safety as time runs out to make a final score. Badgers 14, Tar Heels 5. So Wisconsin moves to 3-0, and the Tar Heels start the nation's toughest schedule, 0-2. Down to Dave Ryan on the field.
Barry, how would you best describe this week?
This is a very emotional week for me. It was a very hard week. This is the way to end it, with a good road win with a young team. But I'm drained. I'm emotionally drained. It's been difficult. But I'm happy for a win for our kids.
How was your team able to overcome a very close game, a tough game with North Carolina in the second half?
Our guys hung in there. You know, we made a lot of mistakes. I told you at the half, we were our own worst enemy. We had some clips that cost us field position in the second half. But our guys, we won as a team. All 3 phases, our kicking game came through. It was a field position game. Thought our punter did a nice job of pinning them back there. And, you know, we were really thin. We had one of our D linemen has the chicken pox back home. We lost another one today. We had a true freshman out there playing. Our kids really battled. But I'm really happy for them. That's a good team win.
How was Brian Calhoun able to have so much success tonight?
Well, that's not probably a good game for Brian. Brian's a good football player, and I give Carolina credit. They did a nice job. They're a very physical team, very athletic, and they ran well. A lot of people from the backside we'd get the front side blocked, and they were making plays from the backside. But I don't know what his numbers were. Brian's a good football player.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
David, Barry Alvarez, Wisconsin 3-0.
Wow, he's got some high standards for Mr. Calhoun. 171 yards, 2 touchdowns, 38 carries. Not that good a game, but a win, and understandably drained Barry Alvarez. 14-5 our final. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more on this game, we'll be on ESPN News in just a moment to wrap things up. For Mike Godfrey, Dave Ryan, our entire crew, Dave Barnett from Chapel Hill, back to Matt Weiner.
Hi, Dave. Thanks.